I'm great, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy to have you here. Scott Rotano is one of my
Thanks.
dear friends, mentors from Rotano Design Group. You want to give us a brief intro of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, Rotano Design Group, we design commercial kitchens. So when people ask me, hey, would you check my house out? We're not going to be doing that. But we play in primary education, or K-12 is our primary marketplace. We also do work across our Midwest region and other areas as well. But as we set out as the strategy, and what's really played out for us, Marlon, is regional force, national voice. And so certainly we're doing commercial design work in corporate settings and healthcare settings and higher ed settings on a regional basis. But on a national basis, and where my heart is enticing children to eat healthier. And
Yeah.
we're really seeing that things like where we place the food and how we display the food and walking hand in hand with the operation. And no offense to the folks in the Dairy Council, but got milk posters are not my idea of that's great for the food experience. We really want to change that and truly entice these children to eat healthier. It makes an impact, as you know from playing in this space, it makes an impact on the rest of their lives. 85% of kids that are obese at age 16 will fight that obesity the rest of their life. And so when we start changing habits and start introducing, not beating them over the head with, but introducing better food choice options and presenting that in a way that this generation is going to want to partake in that, then that's a win. A whole grain crust that a kid's not eating isn't the win. So just serving healthier lunch isn't the win, but enticing children to eat healthier plays on that and moves it to the next level.
And I have to say, I've actually gone through a couple of the schools that you have that you've remodeled. One of them being Brownsburg High. And oh my goodness, that is one enticing space.
Thank you. And for the record, those wins happen because of people at Brownsburg, for instance, Jordan Ryan or Lindsay Hill up at South Madison Schools. Having the involvement of the food service director and them having a vision for what they want to do with their program is huge. But sometimes it's, I like to call it the combination of context, like your community, and we get to be like the man from Mars and go, hey, have you seen this? Or my favorite is to take somebody to somebody else's school and go, hey, you two chat a little bit. And what we learn from one another is just amazing, but it's got to be a collaborative process. That Jordan Schools and Brownsburg are looking awesome. And participation, by the way, don't get lost in, oh, that's really pretty, as much as the more of our kids that are participating. And then there's a revenue jump with that. And then with that revenue jump, what are we doing in the next school over? How are we improving the food product? And on and on and on. So the win isn't just that is a pretty awesome space in Brownsburg, but that their participation's up and more kids are joining us for breakfast and for lunch.
Yeah, that's amazing. Fantastic work on both of your parts. So
Thanks,
technically, we're not here to talk about the amazing work that you do in schools. Even though it is amazing, I'd love to talk about it. That could be another conversation that we have. What it is, I would love that.
There's a little bit of passion behind that,
Yeah.
so I'd be up for that any day of the week, man.
Just a tad bit. So you recently put together a article for Served, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, called "Lessons Learned Along the Way."
Yep.
All right. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was and thank you, by the way, for allowing me to be a part of this Digizine. And first of all, I love saying the word Digizine, so I've been throwing it around as often as possible. But even the concept that you and I can have this conversation, and that's part of it. And the written word, that's part of it. So I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. But you challenged me a little bit. You said, hey, this is about growth through adversity. You didn't say, hey, tell me about your latest design or that kind of stuff. And I've lived a few years and definitely
a few years.
Hey, easy for you. All right. I hang out with a group of high school guys that I've had the opportunity the last 2.5 years to hang out. Every so often I look at them and go, all right, you guys, I got 4 decades on you. Now pay attention. I know, Scott, I know. But growth, we'd love for growth not to be through adversity, but be through the quiet times of life, or the big guy God says, oh, hey, you got to do this, and go, okay, thank you. But in our lives, that's just not the way it plays out. The biggest times that we've grown have been through more difficult times sometimes in our life, and in ways like, man, I didn't see that coming. And if we don't take the time to stop and what did I learn through that? Or what was the lesson through that? I tell people, Marlon, that 2019, there was a song called by, I believe it's called Reason by Unspoken. And the line I always come back to is the last year has felt like 4 straight seasons of winter. And that was, never mind 2020 and the pandemic and all that. That was 2019. And then you roll into 2020 and you're like, really? This is what's next. But man, I wouldn't wish the pandemic on anybody, and the personal loss in so many people's lives, and still suffering, whether it's loss of life or loss of a year of education for a lot of our kids, including my daughter. I mean, it's difficult times, but and there's strength in that, or there's opportunities for strength in that. And I think that's what the article is going to play on. And that's what I would want people to get out of that is, how are we growing through this? Because, man, I do not want to come out the other side the same way I went into that and have gone through everything that we've gone through in 2020 and not learned something, not grown from that,
Yeah, I totally understand. And I think I'm like you, where I'm forever the optimist. And I look back on 2020 and like I see opportunity. Like I acknowledge all the difficulties that 2020 brought, but I'm going to use that as fuel as I go into 2021, and it's just going to be a learning experience. And I feel like obviously there were some bad things that happened in 2020, but there's a lot of good also. Like 2020 forced me to be a better person, a better father, a better business partner, a better manager, a better boss. So I mean, there's a lot that I got out of 2020. Yeah.
I got reminded even yesterday. I had breakfast with a dear friend of mine, and my level, or what I call adversity, versus some of the things that she's gone through in her life or other people have experienced in our lives. So I want to watch that. I don't like think of it in terms of this has been so hard. Man, there's some people really struggling at a much more difficult level than Marlon, you and I are struggling with, or even the folks that are listening, maybe. There's always somebody that's got it tougher than we do. And yeah, you and I hang out based on energy level and optimism for sure.
Yeah.
But even that being said, man, I never want to forget how blessed I am to have the life I have, and not think that my adversity is so high or I've got so much going on. If you're feeling like the world's coming at you, or there's a lot of adversity in front of you, start looking around. And the more you focus on the adversity in somebody else's life and trying to walk them through that, the less you're focused on yourself, not only the quicker you're getting through it or the lessons you're learning through it, but man, you're actually finding that optimism that you and I play out of, or looking towards the light at the end of the tunnel not being just another train coming at me, but truly the next season of life, as I like to say. But the more we take the focus off ourselves, and the more we look around and help others up and walk with other people and share life together, I think the better off we all are,
Oh yeah. It's all about others. And I love going through adversity, either helping others or doing it with others, because I mean, you're stronger together, absolutely stronger together.
My wife told me a long time ago, she said, they call it work for a reason. Like in our office, I mean, there are days that stink. I mean, it's a bad day, or a lot coming at you, or that's not happening. But I look around and Marlon, one of my goals in life, and why even we're hanging out, is I want to work with people I love. That's the deal. And so even on our worst day, when I can look around at my team and know that those are my people, I care about them, I care about their families, and right back at me, they would do anything for. So find people in your lives that, if you're going to walk through adversity, do not be thinking you got to walk through that alone, whether it's work or family or whatever's going on, man. Do not walk through that alone.
Yep, I understand 100%. And you know what's really cool about 2020? One good thing that happened in 2020 was I met you.
Amen, man.
I met you.
Man, I was literally just thinking about that. It's so funny. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, okay, like how, like when folks watch this, they're going to go, oh, those dudes have been friends forever. Marked on a Zoom call because our friend Melissa said, you two need to talk.
Exactly, yeah. Melissa and Lindsay.
Yes.
Lindsay used to always talk about it. And I was like, who's this Scott Rotato guy? I need to meet him.
I got so sick of hearing about Marlon Gordon. I was like, all right, I might as well hang out with the guy. But it's also one of those things, Marlon, I think the energy that you and I bring together isn't about business. It isn't about making sure we're making more money. It's about man, look out 2021, because you put us together. What can we do to change the world? And what can the people we're talking to or listening to this, how can we together change the world and make it better for other people, man? How fun is that, you know?
Oh
And
my gosh. So
yeah, it's
much
going to
fun.
get scary. Scary fun, but it's going to get scary. No?
Oh yeah. Yep. We are definitely going to be pushing some boundaries in 2021. I'm excited to do it.
And looking forward to it, brother. Really looking forward to it.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm super excited to dive into your article. Everybody out there, please make sure you read this. It is going to be amazing. And Scott, where can people find you? How can they get a hold of you?
Scott R, as in Scott Rotano, at RotanoDesignGroup.com. We tried to make the longest email address we could find, y'all. Apologize.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Multiple emails. Don't even get me started. RotanoDesignGroup.com or www.RotanoDesignGroup.com. But and please feel free to reach out. Minus anything that has anything to do with business. Just sharing life is good for me. And if there's any way I can encourage anybody or share your load or do anything, I'd be happy to do it. I promise. And
he's telling the truth. He is incredibly encouraging. You've been a wealth of knowledge and wisdom to me. And at me personally, as a young business owner, like I look to people like you to help guide me and, help me get from A to Z. And also I want to learn from your adversity. So I know you've gone through some trials and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you can share that wisdom with me. And you always do it so willingly. And I really do appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Hey, this is, we're actually all not in a race. This is a journey. So our time together or what we can share with one another, that's the win. And I'll take that every day. So whatever I can do to help, I'm in, man. Thank you, Marlon. Right back at you, by the way. This is a two-way street. What is it? Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
Going that direction.
All right. Cool. I love it, man.
Thank you very much, man, for having me.
Yep. Thanks for stopping by.
See you, brother.